Hi.
Hi, Sunny.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear
So,
me?
yeah, we can hear you.
Cool.
Hello. Yeah, so I'll do a brief introduction of our team first, and then Amy will ask the interview questions. So, we are a team doing the China Thinks Big competition, but we're likely gonna extend this project to like maybe our entire high school years. We basically want to promote global culture, and now we're doing a documentary series. There's gonna be 12 episodes, and each episode is gonna be like a specific holiday or like event in 1 month. And our January episode will be about the Kumbh Mela. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm Jessie. That's Amy. Could you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sunny. I think I'm uniquely qualified to talk about the Kumbh Mela because I'm from India. Maybe not
Right.
uniquely qualified because there are 1.3 billion of us, but still.
Maybe you can talk about like what you do for a living.
So, I'm a teacher. I teach competitive debate in economics based in Beijing. I am from India, but I've been in China since 2013. And I'd say I was born and raised in India, but now China is my home.
Right. Yeah. Have you ever been to the Kumbh Mela before for some occasion?
Multiple times. So the Kumbh
Well,
Mela is actually not one gathering, but it happens every 3 or 4 years over spread over 4 locations alternatively. And one of those locations is in the same state or province where I was born in, about 3 hours drive to the city that I was born in. So whenever that happens, whenever by rotation it happens in my state, I go there.
then can you briefly describe your experience in participating?
Okay, I'd say the only way I can describe the Kumbh Mela is it is out of this world in the sense that almost the number of people who attend it can range from anywhere between 30 million to like 40 million people. Not on the same day, it's spread out over multiple days, but at the at the peak day. So when the Kumbh Mela is held, it's decided according to the the Hindu calendar, the lunar calendar that Hinduism follows. And at the most auspicious day, you can almost have like 40-45 million people there. And it's like a giant carnival. It's a religious festival, but at the same time, it's also like a giant carnival. You have people who are very, very devoted to Hinduism, who are, say, practicing Hindus or who are priests who work in various temples across the country. They come there because as a form of religious obligation. But then you also have millions of other people who are there because uh, the gathering helps them uh, connect in a deeper way to their spiritual beliefs, and that is why I used to go there because my mom was a Jain. It's a separate religion, but it has a significant overlap with Hinduism. So she would take me and my sister there, uh, just as some experience that we both should have. People travel there with their entire families. People camp there, essentially live in tents and cook food there over the course of 6 or 7 days, and basically live there for a week or so.
Oh, so it's yeah, that's very cool. So, like, what do other people feel about Kumbh Mela? Do is that like a very like from what you've described, it seems like a very like multicultural thing that a lot of people are involved with. So is this something like as a Hindu, a lot of people attended, or like yeah, what's the relationship between like the general population and Kumbh Mela?
About about 80% of Indian population is Hindus. And Hinduism itself is a very diverse religion. Like two people could be practicing Hindus have and not follow the same religious ceremonies or holidays their entire life. So Kumbh Mela it is primarily North Indian, I would say. Primarily, it is North Indian Hindus who attend it, but it has like significant attendance from all over the country. Interestingly, I do not know, or many people, not many people know what actually is historical origin of the festival. And if you literally translate Kumbh Mela, it literally translates to the Kumbh Carnival. It does not translate to a festival. It does not translate to like a gathering. It translates to a carnival. And the carnival element is actually very strong in that gathering. I mean, you have people there who are attending it for strong religious reasons. They take a dip. It is held in 4 cities in 4 consecutive periods of time spread over 12 years. Each of those cities is next to a river. Each of those rivers is considered holy. So people come there, they take a dip in the river for serious religious purposes. But a lot of people just come there as a sort of an obligatory gathering. It just makes them feel good. A lot of along with along with the religious ceremonies, it also has a lot of entertainment.
So that is very cool. Like when we were researching about Hinduism and like searching on footages about Hinduism or like India, the big thing that we found is like there's a lot of festivals, gatherings. So like that are not very common in other religions, right? So what is like what is the role that these festivals or gatherings play in Indian style of life or like Hinduism?
So, I mean, Indians are very social people in general. I presume a lot of these festivals have their origins in the fact that it gave people, maybe local communities, like a chance to uh, gather and celebrate together. A lot of festivals used to be localized festivals, which would only apply to like a specific region. But now with development of transportation infrastructure and the ease of traveling and stuff, a lot of them have become truly national festivals. But Kumbh Mela was one of those festivals which were very regional until not so far back. It has a global appeal now. Uh, Thousands of people, even from outside India, or people who are ethnically not Indians, travel to the Kumbh Mela because they feel it, because they feel spiritually attracted to it. I feel the purpose that all of these festivals serve, and Hinduism has a lot of those festivals, large gatherings, audio, family, as a community, as a city. I think the purpose they serve is to give people like a sense of community, because as you know, human beings, we desire a sense of community.
That yeah, so like in what we're doing in our documentary is like after talking about Kumbh Mela, we sort of want to broaden out and connect it with like India and and on that aspect, what is something like what is something about Hinduism that you wish that other people knew? Because Hinduism, like the way we see Hinduism is it's pretty like in India itself. Even though there are a lot of followers outside of India, like most of followers are in India, right? So, what is something that us a Hindu yourself you other people to know?
Well, to begin with, I'm not a Hindu.
Really?
As in, I'm not a
Oh, you're
practicing Hindu.
Jain, right?
My father is Muslim, and my mother was a Jain. They had an interreligious marriage. If you ask me what is my religion, I'd say I'm confused. But I grew up in a Hindu household. I All of my friends were Hindus. I went to a seminary where the bulk of my friends were Hindus. Uh, and I'd say Hinduism is not one faith. It is not a monotheistic religion. It has millions of gods and goddesses. It does not have a central book, like one book of the faith, like many other monotheistic religions do. A lot of Indians like to say Hinduism is not a religion, it's a way of life. I kind of disagree. It has less into a religion, but at the same time, it's a combination of millions of faiths. I mean, Hinduism gives you like a lot of discretion to follow whichever version of Hinduism you identify with. There are very few central teachings. There are very few central guidelines, and what makes a good Hindu, what makes a bad Hindu. Essentially, you do your thing, and you people do their thing. That kind of finds the essence of Hinduism. Like, you can have a family in which there are two brothers who follow entirely different versions of Hinduism, and they live happily together. At least this is what the religion is supposed to be conceptual. It has different versions now. I mean, there are many forms of Hinduism. There are benign forms of Hinduism. To be very honest, there are also militant forms of Hinduism. There are also extreme forms of Hinduism. Uh, Followers believe in a singular definition of Hinduism, and anybody who does not believe in that definition is not a Hindu. There are extremists in Hinduism as well, but the religion itself gives you a lot of discretion to believe whatever you want and follow whatever customs you want, whatever traditions you want. There are a lot of Muslims in India who were Hindus previously and they converted, say, 100 years back, 200 years back, and my ancestors were one of them. So a lot of our family customs, uh, our marriages, our family gatherings would look like Hindu family gatherings, even though we are not practicing Hindus.
That is, yeah. So it's in India itself is pretty religiously diverse, saying that. So it's basically like a lot of beliefs about Hinduism or like Islam is like really introverted. Is that the situation?
Highly.
Yeah.
Or at
So
least this is what the situation has. This is how India has been for the last 50 years or so. In the last 8 years or so, and there's no fault in denying it. Actually, no, there is fault in denying it. But in the last 8 years or so, uh, the religion has become slightly more extreme in the sense that there are political figures who would say Hinduism has a singular definition, but I would say that is an aberration. That's not a fact. That's a deviation from the norm. That is not the norm. India is culturally been always culturally been very diverse. Linguistically, it has been very diverse. So you would have people who are practicing Hindu not speak the same language.
um.
I went. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. I forgot to ask one question, so let me go back to Bella for well, if you can describe Kumbh Mela with 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
I'd say order and chaos.
Order and chaos.
Yeah, it is extremely chaotic. Uh, if you did not grow up in India, you would be like, I have no idea what is going on here. There seems to be no organization. There seems to be no rules to go by. Nobody seems to know what they're doing. But ultimately, everybody seems to know that they're doing. It's almost as if we can describe Kumbh Mela in terms of entropy. It's like a system whose entropy keeps on increasing, but it never explodes. It's like everybody, at the end of the day, it all gets settled. In the morning, you feel that there is so much chaos here. I have no clue what to do. And You bump into people all the time, but everything settles down at the end. I'd say it's organized chaos.
That is, wait, that is pretty cool. Like, I feel like this really also relevant to how India is organized. Like when you see how when we were researching about how like things in India work in Indian culture, it seemed like a lot of like diversification, a lot of like different beliefs, a lot of polarization in general. But then, like the country itself seems to be somehow like tied together in some form, whatever that we don't understand yet. Um,
So
and
uh, there is a meme that goes about India that goes around a lot on the Chinese internet, where you see you have one motorbike and you have like 10, 20 people on the same motorbike doing acrobatics. It's like when India has a Republic Day parade, that is a common sight where you have a lot of soldiers on the same motorbike doing acrobatics. Uh, the last Republic Day parade, there was a similar scene. You had four soldiers on the same motorbike, dressed in religiously identifiable dresses of the four major religions. So you had one person dressed as a Hindu, one person dressed as a Muslim, one person dressed as a Sikh, one person dressed as a Christian, and they were all sitting in the passenger seat. There was nobody driving the motorbike. I'd say that's the best analogy to describe India, as in it has faiths that are intermingling with each other without any particular rules and regulations, and at times there is no driver's seat.
that yeah, that is I think it's a very applicable analogy. Um, and also, what do you think is like distinctive about India? Like, if you have to just make some generalizations about Indian like religion or Indian like culture in general, what would be the distinctive characteristics?
I'd say almost all of Indian culture. If you want to talk about the good elements, then or even from like an outsider's perspective, uh, and I think then you can derive conclusions. I'm not a very big fan of Indian culture, or I like the idea of India where it's unity and diversity. When you're growing up in schools, you're taught that we have unity and diversity. We are a very diverse country, but we are united. And honestly, India is more diverse than the European Union is in terms of linguistic diversity and religious diversity. So uh, it's an extremely diverse place. It is extremely chaotic in an organized way. At the same time, almost all major religions in India uh, have the same elements that you would see in very traditional societies elsewhere. It's an extremely patriarchal place. The vast majority of India is an extremely patriarchal place. Uh, most major religions themselves have some or the other form of institutionalized patriarchy. So, if you were an activist, you would decry, if you were a feminist rights, female rights activist, you would decry almost all of critical elements of Indian culture as being heavily patriarchal. I did as well. A lot of scholars would claim that the culture itself is something that keeps the country back. I'd say I partially agree with them. Uh, but the best way to describe is that after living outside India for 8 years, uh, it's a very beautiful place to visit for a week. But after a week, the reality hits in. And as an Indian, I grew up in India. I grew up in multiple cities in India. My parents from different cultures. Uh, I'd say, and a lot of people, a lot of Indians who leave India agree with me that I like the idea of India, but I like the reality of where I live. So, as long as I'm living comfortably in China, if you ask me the idea of India, I like it. It's a very diverse place. It's a fun place to hang out. Uh, it's it's downright beautiful. I mean, I don't think there is any other country that offers a kind of scenic diversity that India does. That within the course of a few hours, you can go from a desert to somewhere where it's snowing. And in terms of geographical diversity, cultural diversity, it is downright gorgeous. But I would not want to live there for more than a week at a stretch over the course of 6 months because, uh, in terms of the delivery of public services and all, there are many other places which are better in India.
Oh,
Kumbh Mela is fun.
Jessie.
I've had a lot of friends whom I went to college with who were Americans, British, and Bahamian, and other nationalities who went to the Kumbh Mela simply because they were marveled by the fact that they wanted to see what is it like to see 30 million people at the same place. And they were rightly surprised. They were rightly marveled by seeing 30 odd million people at the same piece of land at the same time. And it is awe-inspiring that way. So a lot of people travel to the Kumbh Mela for those purposes. But India has a lot of other festivals as well, which are equal in importance, if not more important than the Kumbh Mela. Equal in importance to Hindus, if not more important than the Kumbh Mela. It's definitely not the most Hindu religious gathering.
Okay, yeah.
Big.
Yeah, thank you so much for this interview. Yeah, after interviewing a bunch of people, we feel like we've really gotten to know firsthand, like, what this festival is like. Um, and this is apart from like the research we've done on the internet. So yeah, that was really, really insightful. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And
Thank
Yeah.
don't forget class on Friday.
Yes, yes.
Do you wait, Jessie? Did you ask this for? Like, do you mind if we use your footage and what you've said in like part of our documentary, mini
Absolutely
documentary
not.
series?
Absolutely not. Feel free.
All right. Yeah.
Could you like
Okay.
touch up my appearance a bit? Maybe some May 2 PS.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, we'll try.
Jessie will work on it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.